All right, so get this. Today we're heading to Toronto. We've got some awesome stuff to dig into.
Oh, yeah.
Excerpts from FlightNHotels.com, for booking and all that.
Right.
Andy, we've got this super in-depth guide to Toronto's must-see spots. Basically, it's your ultimate travel cheat sheet.
Definitely. And you know what's cool about Toronto? It's not just Canada's biggest city. It's like this global melting pot.
Yeah.
You've got all these different cultures and vibes all mixed into one.
I love that. And our guide's awesome. It breaks down the top 10 places you have to see.
Makes it super easy to plan, right?
Totally. So picture this. 1 minute, you're in this massive museum, and the next, you're kayaking on an island. That's Toronto for you.
It really does have something for everyone. But before we jump into all that,
Yeah.
let's talk about FlightNHotels.com.
Okay.
They're all about making trip planning stress-free.
That's key. Nobody wants to be stressed on vacation.
Exactly. So imagine this. You're on FlightNHotels.com. Boom. You've got your flights. You've got hotels. It's all there, for you to compare and choose from. No more going back and forth between a million different tabs.
Ugh, that's the worst. Saves so much time.
Oh, yeah. Plus, they're known for having some pretty sweet exclusive discounts, which means
More money for
those amazing Toronto treats. You know what I'm saying?
sure. Gotta have those. And secure booking, too. Peace of mind when you're traveling is absolutely priceless. Okay, so are you ready to dive into those 10 must-see spots?
Absolutely. Let's go. First up is the CN Tower. Now, this thing was actually the tallest freestanding structure in the world. For a while, anyway.
Impressive.
Right. It really shows you Toronto's, ambitious spirit. But here's the thing that blew my mind. The edge walk. You're literally harnessed and you walk on the outside edge of this thing.
No way.
356 meters up in the air.
Wow, that's insane. It's not even just about the view at that point. It's about pushing your limits, experiencing the city in a way that
Yeah, totally.
no one else can. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next up, we're going to the Royal Ontario Museum, or as the cool kids call it,
Grom.
the ROM, exactly. This place is massive.
Oh, it's huge.
Like one of the biggest museums in North America. You've got literally everything. Dinosaur fossils, ancient Egyptian artifacts.
Imagine, okay, you're standing there looking at a T-Rex skeleton.
Okay.
And then the next minute, you're admiring some centuries-old Chinese pottery. It's crazy.
That's amazing. It's a journey through time and culture.
All under one roof.
All under one roof. Plus, the building itself is insane. Like that Michael Lee Chin crystal entrance.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically a modern art sculpture. Okay, ready for a total change of pace?
It be.
Imagine escaping the city and ending up on, wait for it, a clothing-optional beach.
Oh, you're talking about...
Yes, the Toronto Islands. Just a
Yeah.
short ferry ride from the city, and bam, it's like a different world.
Totally. Beaches, parks, these incredible views of the skyline. It's the perfect escape.
And yeah, Hamlet's Point Beach is definitely unique. But, whether you're into that or you prefer something more family-friendly, the islands have it all.
Yeah.
Biking, kayaking, having a nice picnic. It's all about being outside.
Love it. And speaking of escapes, how about we escape into the world of art? The Art Gallery of Ontario, or OGO, is another one that's just
Yeah,
massive.
and I was reading about that. It has over 90,000 pieces.
That's a lot of art to take in.
Right. You've got everything. European masterpieces, contemporary Canadian art, and then a significant collection that highlights Canada's Indigenous peoples.
It's amazing.
So it's like you're on a global art tour without even leaving the city. And again, the building itself is pretty spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Designed by Frank Gehry, right?
Got it. Okay, you ready for an underwater adventure?
I'm always ready for that.
All right, then next up is Ripley's Aquarium of Canada, home to over 20,000 aquatic creatures.
That's a lot of fish.
Picture walking through this glass tunnel with sharks swimming all around you.
Oh, wow. I'd be freaking out a little.
Talk about an Instagram-worthy moment, right? Plus, it's super educational, so it's perfect for families or anyone who just loves ocean life.
Totally. Okay. Are you hungry yet? Because our next stop is a foodie's dream come true.
I'm always hungry. Tell me more.
St. Lawrence Market, one of the best food markets in the world.
Seriously.
Seriously, this place is historic. It's like this incredible assault on your senses in the best possible way. Fresh produce, artisan cheeses, flavors from all over the world, and you've got locals and tourists all mixed together, creating this amazing energy.
I can practically smell the fresh bread and cheese already. Okay, let's trade the market for some green space for a bit. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so High Park is Toronto's largest park.
I did not know.
You've got trails, gardens, even a zoo. It's like a little city inside the city.
Yeah.
And in spring, those cherry blossoms are
Oh, they're gorgeous.
stunning. If you book with FlightNHotels.com, make sure you book a hotel nearby so you can spend lots of time at this park.
That's a great tip. You know what I love about Toronto? It has all these unique neighborhoods.
Yes. And speaking of that, how about we time travel back to the 19th century?
You're talking about...
The Distillery District, this perfectly preserved area, it's like stepping into a history book. Cobblestone streets, Victorian architecture. But, get this, it's now a hub for boutiques, art galleries, and some of the trendiest restaurants in the city.
Wow, it's old meets new.
Right. The best of both worlds. They also have seasonal events and festivals, which would be super fun to check out.
Oh, for sure. And finally, we're off to the Toronto Zoo.
Nice.
One of the largest in the entire world. Imagine exploring all these different ecosystems. You've got the African savanna, the tundra trek. It's incredible.
So you're not just seeing the animals, you're like experiencing their world.
Exactly. And the zoos really focus on education and conservation.
I like that.
So you're learning about the animals' A&D, how to protect them, which is super important.
Okay, let's recap for a sec. We've got towering skyscrapers, underwater worlds, historic districts, even a clothing-optional beach. Toronto is full of contrasts.
It's wild, right? But what's so cool is that it all flows together. You can experience, like, so many different sides of the city, and it all feels...
And like it just works.
Exactly. And FlightNHotels.com can totally help you plan it all out, finding hotels near the attractions you want to see and all that.
Right. Makes it so much easier. And speaking of FlightNoteHotels.com, let's talk about their special offers section. Who knows? Maybe we can find some deals that'll make our Toronto adventure even more affordable.
You never know. Those deals can be a game changer.
All right, let's take a look.
So, special offers. What caught your eye?
Well, first off, they've got this whole section for pre-booking taxis.
Oh, nice.
Which is so helpful.
Especially after, like, a long flight.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
When you just want to get to your hotel and, like, crash.
Yeah, just get settled in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So pre-booking a taxi. Genius.
It's those little things, you know,
Yeah.
that can make a trip so much smoother. Plus, if you save some money on the taxi...
Ooh, yes.
That's more money for, like, trying all the amazing food at St. Lawrence Market.
Definitely. And speaking of hotels, their best hotel rooms offer is intriguing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially after learning about all these different neighborhoods. Like, what if we want to stay near High Park, you know, for the cherry blossoms?
Right.
Or right in the heart of the Distillery District.
I feel that. So what's nice is that FlightNHotels.com lets you, like, filter your search by area.
Oh, perfect.
So it's easy to find a hotel that, you know, fits your itinerary.
So smart.
They even have deals on, like, specific types of rooms.
Oh, wow.
So whether you're looking for, like, a romantic suite or a family-friendly room with extra space.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk flights. Because, honestly, who doesn't love saving money on airfare?
It's the best feeling.
They have this whole banner that's like, get great deal on flight bookings.
Makes sense to check that out. Flight prices can be so all over the place.
Seriously, it's like a guessing game sometimes.
Yeah. But FlightNHotels.com is great because they, like, compare different airlines and highlight the best deals. So you can, you know, find that perfect flight without spending a fortune.
All right, so we've got our flights, our hotels, even transportation kind of sorted out.
You're in there.
Back to exploring Toronto. We've talked about those big iconic spots. But what about some, like, hidden gems?
Ooh, I like that. You know those places that really give you a feel for the city's soul?
Exactly. The places only locals know about.
Toronto's neighborhoods are awesome for that.
Okay.
Like, each one is like its own little world.
I love them.
For example, you've got Kensington Market.
Okay.
That's a must for anyone who's into, like, vintage stuff, quirky shops, and street art.
Ooh, I'm already picturing it.
It's a very bohemian, like, artsy vibe.
I love that. Okay, but what about the food? What kind of food scene can I expect there?
Oh, get ready for a global feast. I'm talking Jamaican patties,
Okay.
vegan soul food,
Yeah.
and they have this incredible cheese shop that's been there for, like, over 100 years.
Wow, a cheese shop with that much history. I'm sold. What other neighborhoods would you recommend for, like, that local vibe?
If you want that, like, cozy neighborhood feeling,
Yeah.
check out Little Italy or Greek Town.
Ooh, those sound nice.
They're full of, like, authentic restaurants, cafes that spill out onto the sidewalks. You really get a sense of community there.
I can just imagine sitting in Little Italy, sipping an espresso, people watching, and just enjoying that whole atmosphere.
It's lovely.
Toronto seems to have a bit of everything.
It really does.
What about for history buffs? Are there any spots that would be, like, right up their alley?
Definitely. Toronto's history is everywhere, even just walking down the street.
Cool.
You've got Fort York, for example.
Okay.
It's a National Historic Site, and it takes you back to the War of 1812.
Wow, that's going way back.
Imagine standing right where, like, soldiers once stood,
Yeah.
feeling that connection to the past.
That's so powerful. Speaking of history, any architectural marvels we should know about?
Oh, for sure. Casa Loma is a must-see.
Okay, tell me more.
It's this grand castle.
A castle?
Yeah, built in the early 1900s.
In Toronto?
I know, right? It has towers, secret passages, these stunning gardens.
It doesn't sound like something you'd find in a modern city.
I know, it's so unexpected, but that's Toronto for you. Full of surprises.
Agreed. Anything else that might surprise our listeners?
If you want to really step back in time, there's Black Creek Pioneer Village.
Yeah.
It's a living history museum. They recreate life in 19th century Ontario.
Wow, that's so cool.
You can talk to people dressed in like period costumes, try traditional crafts, and just really get a sense of what life was like back then.
That sounds like an amazing experience. Okay, so we've got history covered, but I have to ask. A shoe museum.
Right, the Bata Shoe Museum.
I know, it sounds kind of random.
But trust me, it's way more fascinating than you might think.
Okay.
It's home to this, like, huge collection of footwear from all over the world and throughout history.
Seriously?
Seriously. I'm talking ancient Egyptian sandals.
Wow.
Elton John's platform boots. You name it, they probably have it.
That's wild. It really shows you how something as simple as shoes can tell us so much about different cultures and time periods.
Exactly. And that's what makes exploring Toronto so rewarding. It's a city that constantly, like, challenges your perceptions and shows you something new.
Okay, we've covered so much ground today.
We have.
From those big, iconic attractions to hidden gems, even a shoe museum. Let's shift gears for a bit. If you were planning your dream trip to Toronto, what would be your top tips for someone listening?
That's a good question. Well, first things first, set a budget.
Okay, yeah. That's important.
Toronto has everything from budget-friendly hostels to five-star hotels. So, knowing how much you can spend is like the center.
Solid advice. Once you have a budget in mind, what's next?
Think about your interests.
Okay.
Are you a history buff, a foodie, an art enthusiast?
Right, because
tailoring your itinerary to your passions will make the experience so much more rewarding.
Totally. You don't want to be like dragging yourself to a museum if what you really want to do is explore those cool neighborhoods.
Exactly. If you're into art, prioritize the Goa.
Okay.
Or, check out the galleries in the Distillery District.
Got
if you're a foodie,
yeah,
hit St. Lawrence Market and, explore the city's diverse culinary scene.
And what about getting around? Toronto has great public transit, but should people think about renting a car?
That's a good question. I think it really depends on your plans.
Okay.
If you're mostly staying downtown, the subway and streetcars are super easy to use.
Okay.
But if you're thinking of going further out, like to Niagara Falls, for example,
right,
then a car might be a good idea.
Solid advice. So we've talked budget, interests, transportation. Anything else people should consider?
Oh, definitely. Toronto has, like, 4 distinct seasons.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Summer is peak tourist season. There are tons of festivals and events.
Sounds fun.
But it can get pretty crowded.
What?
Spring and fall offer, like, milder weather.
Nice.
You get to see the beautiful foliage.
I love that.
And then winter, if you don't mind the cold.
Yeah, it has its own charm, like Christmas markets, ice skating, that cozy vibe.
I love that you mentioned the seasons. It's like you get multiple travel experiences in one city depending on when you go.
Exactly. Speaking of experiences, we should talk about safety.
Yeah, good point.
Is Toronto generally a safe city for travelers?
I'd say so, especially compared to other big cities.
Right, for sure.
But obviously, you should still use common sense.
Of course.
Be aware of your surroundings. Maybe avoid walking alone in dark areas at night.
Yeah, be smart about it.
Exactly. And keep your valuables safe.
Good reminders. I think we've covered a lot to help people plan their dream Toronto trip.
I think so, too. From budgeting to safety, we've touched on all the important stuff.
And don't forget, FlightNHotels.com can be your travel buddy throughout the whole process.
Yes.
They handle the logistical stuff so you can focus on the fun part.
So flights, hotels, taxis, all that jazz.
Exactly. They're like that friend who always knows the best deals and keeps you organized. Before we wrap up, let's go back to something we mentioned earlier. Toronto's amazing diversity.
Yeah, it's such a cool aspect of the city.
It truly is. It's a city that welcomes everyone and celebrates all these different cultures.
That's what makes Toronto so special.
Yeah.
You've got this mosaic of experiences. You can be walking through Chinatown one minute, then exploring a Greek bakery the next, and then end up in some, like, cutting-edge art gallery.
Usually. It's like a world tour in one city.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that brings us to our final question. What will your Toronto adventure look like?
Ooh, I like that. Will you be brave enough to do the edge walk at the CN Tower?
Yeah, will you?
Will you get lost in the culinary wonderland of Kensington Market?
Oh.
Or maybe you'll discover some hidden gem in one of those awesome neighborhoods we talked about.
The possibilities are endless. That's the beauty of Toronto.
So true.
You can create an experience that's totally unique to you.
I love that. So, with all this inspiration and the help of FlightNHotels.com,
You're ready.
you're totally ready to plan your unforgettable Toronto adventure.
Let's do it.
But before you rush off to book those flights and hotels,
Yeah.
take a minute to actually imagine yourself in Toronto.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes.
What sights, sounds, and flavors are calling to you?
It's funny you should say that because for me, it's always the energy that gets me.
Yes. There's this electric buzz, but it's not overwhelming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's electric, but it's also warm and welcoming at the same time.
Exactly.
It's like the city embraces you, invites you to explore,
I love that.
to get lost in those bustling markets, to wander down hidden alleyways, to discover those cozy little cafes tucked away on side streets.
And that's what makes it such a rewarding travel experience. It's
Yeah.
not just about, checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about absorbing the city's vibe, connecting with its people, and creating your own unique story.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's with those unexpected moments.
Yes, those are the best.
Like maybe stumbling upon a street festival or, striking up a conversation with a local artist.
Oh, yeah. Or finding that perfect vintage record in some hidden shop you never knew existed. I love that. It's those little serendipitous moments that really turn a trip into an adventure.
Totally. And remember, FlightNHotels.com can be your partner in creating those moments.
For sure. They take care of all the logistics, like the flights, the hotels, even taxis.
Yeah, all that stuff you don't want to think about.
Exactly. So you can focus on having fun and enjoying the experience.
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
You've just landed in Toronto. You hop in your pre-booked taxi,
Already feeling good.
and you're driving through the city, catching glimpses of those iconic landmarks, the colorful neighborhoods, the parks bursting with greenery.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Knowing you got a great deal on your flights and hotel through FlightNHotels.com
Oh, yeah.
makes it even better.
Exactly. You've got more money to spend on experiencing the city.
Yes.
Maybe a food tour through Kensington Market,
Okay.
tickets to a show in the entertainment district, or a scenic ferry ride to the Toronto Islands.
So many possibilities.
Right.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Toronto, I want to leave you with this.
Okay. I'm listening.
Don't be afraid to go off the beaten path.
Yes, wander a little.
Exactly. Let curiosity be your guide. Talk to locals. Explore those hidden alleyways. Step into a shop that catches your eye.
You never know what you might find.
Seriously, you never know what treasures you might uncover.
Toronto is a city that rewards that adventurous spirit.
Totally.
Yeah.
So embrace the unknown, let yourself get lost in the magic of the city, and create a travel story that's uniquely yours.
And remember, FlightNHotels.com is there every step of the way.
They're like your travel fairy godmother.
Yeah, they're ready to turn your Toronto dreams into reality.
Beautifully said. So are you ready to embark on your Toronto adventure?
Let's go!
Until next time, fellow explorers, keep diving deep and keep exploring.